Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.
Hello, welcome to today's episode of Taekwondo Life Magazine Live. This is Master Marc Zirogiannis. I'm your host, and I'm the editor-in-chief of Taekwondo Life Magazine. We are coming to you tonight with some breaking news on a story that we have been covering. But before we get there, let's talk about some more breaking news in the world of, we're in March, right? So it's March Madness. BetOnline is the most trusted betting platform and your number one source for all your betting news for March Madness. Whether you're a seasoned fan or first-time bettor, BetOnline is your ultimate game day companion. With the largest selection of odds on everything from college basketball to $2,000 bracket contests, BetOnline continues to be your number one betting source. From every Cinderella story to every hat trick, BetOnline has you covered with the odds, the stats, and more for every game, every play, and every win. BetOnline, the game starts here. So, those of you that were betting people and bet, or would have bet on the results of our next story, which is a follow-up to 2 episodes that we've done, let's see how you guys would have done. Because if you had bet that AB1333 would not have made it to be signed legislation, you would have won. That is my follow-up. So we did a little bit of the history on our end. We received information from some folks that there was a statute pending, AB1333 in California, that limited people's ability to defend themselves, that perhaps put an excessive burden on people to try to de-escalate a fight. There were fact sheets that were perpetuated by Assemblyman Rick Bezer, who promoted the legislation, fact sheets by the opposite side. We tried to give a fair and balanced look at both sides so that people would have the opportunity to make up their own opinion. Following that, we received a request from the California Rifle and Pistol Association to publicly discuss the matter, and we agreed. The conditions of that interview were that we would fact-check any information that was given and that we would give the opposition side the opportunity to respond. Rick Travis from the Legislative Bureau of the California Rifle and Pistol Association came on and spoke to us in our last episode. It was a great talk. And he was very forthright, very knowledgeable. He's a martial artist, as well as being involved in this. And he provided a good overview of the limitations of the bill, the strengths of the bill, the arguments on both sides. In that conversation, I specifically asked Rick his thoughts about whether the bill's likelihood of being signed into law. He gave us a pretty good understanding, and I think he was pretty on point. Opposition from numerous groups had already pressured the assemblyman to say that he was going to reconsider the language of the bill and was going to modify it. Now for a word from our sponsor. We are back. So that being the case, when we left it with Rick, we discussed that he would get in touch with us and provide us with any type of feedback on the bill. And he did today. The bill, due to the controversy, due to the pushback, due to the public notion that the bill is a anti-victim rights bill, that it created too much of a burden or placed too much of a burden on the victim. The bill has been officially killed. It is not going to be modified. I do not expect that it will be resubmitted. The other issue about this bill, I spoke to some California attorneys. Some of them didn't think that the bill was necessarily so bad or that the burden upon the victim per se was too high. But what they had said to me, something similar to what Rick said, is that it really wasn't necessary. It was a bill that was created to not necessarily address an active problem or a current problem. There isn't an actual, Assemblyman Bizarre said that one of the reasons for proposing the bill was to mitigate against vigilantism in the state of California. From what the folks who are against the bill have said, that's not a significant problem there. In fact, they pointed to the recent wildfires where, while there were people who were protecting their properties from looting, they did not use that opportunity to seek out and do harm against other individuals. So we are excited to have been in the middle of all of this. Our goal is always to report fairly, to provide opinions, but to tell you when there are opinions, and to keep people abreast. While this was to some degree a AB1333, a guns right or gun limitation bill, as a self-defense bill, it absolutely applies to martial artists. And again, I know that as martial artists, we don't go into situations to fight. We go in to not fight, but we don't want to find, if we're in a situation where we need to defend ourselves or defend our loved ones, we want to be certain that we're not going to become the subject of criminal prosecution or civil litigation. The Daniel Penny case in New York, the case of the gentleman who on the New York City subway was acquitted for trying to defend the people on his train, and in the process took the life of the assailant, is an example that had been talked about as to whether or not this type of situation was what the bill was trying to deal with. However, it is no longer an issue. AB 1333 is now officially dead. I suggest you check up on our prior programs if you want to know the full history of it. Check out the news. And as always, we'd love to hear your comments, your thoughts, and I look forward to seeing you on the mats. This is Master Marc Zirogiannis from Taekwondo Life magazine.
Free audio post-production